Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. I actually got a fair amount accomplished today. I did try to get another day of beta testing in today. But I don't know, hour and 20 minutes into it. Same situation as day one. I called it. It's probably going to be the last time I can test it this year. Because of the, weather changing and whatnot. And so anyway, I packed it all up and put it up for the winter. And let's see, I guess I'll pull it back out in the spring. As soon as temperatures break, that's going to be the defining factor, is temperatures. Other than that, like I said, I did get a fair amount accomplished here today. Got a bunch of stuff moved around, different places, in this big never-ending reorganization is what it seems like. And so I'm just trying to get things to where they're packed in to make a little more sense, save as much room as possible, because we don't have much to begin with. And, I think I'm about as organized as I can get, really. Now I just have to finish up putting up my stuff. I got tools and stuff that I've been using to work with the projects, all the different projects, and now that everything's pretty well sewn up, as far as that stuff is concerned, good to go there. So that's definitely a good thing. I had been having problems with one of my cameras, and once in a while you might catch it or something on the show. One of my cameras would look like it was dark, and the reason why is it wasn't kicking over into the night vision, although it would try. It just couldn't do it, and I wasn't real sure. I thought I saw a connection between, originally when it first started giving me issues, when it rained, and I thought, oh, great. I thought the water was coming off of the gutter, flowing down onto the camera and causing the issue. And there was certainly water flowing out of the gutter onto the camera. That was for sure happening. However, let's see, day before yesterday or so, I thought, well, I'm going to check it out. So I grabbed out my little impact driver and pulled the screws out, pulled it off of the mount, and I got to thinking. I thought, wait a minute. I looked back at the power wire that I had running to that, and that particular camera happens to be running off of one of those flat cables. You could put it under a door, in a window, or whatever. And so there was either 20 or 30 feet of flat cable that I had used. And I got to thinking, man, maybe that thing just isn't getting enough power. Because it seemed like for the most part, unless you were doing the pan and tilt stuff, for the most part, during the day there were really no issues. So, I actually took my Go Power Plus. I was curious. And so, was it yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday I took the Go Power Plus, and it's got the same kind of jack on it and everything that the cameras use. So I just got one of the little cables. I can't remember what they call them. I don't remember the damn number of the stupid thing, but it's the little cable for the little barrel connector. I think it's the 2.5 by the 5.5. You guys don't care. Anyway, so I got it, and I hooked up the Go Power Plus to the camera, and it worked like a champ. I even went out there after it got dark yesterday, unplugged it, and plugged it back in, because that's one thing I know I could do to screw it up. If it was nighttime and I unplugged it and plugged it back in, you weren't getting night vision. It wasn't going to happen. It would eventually, after a while, point itself back in the direction it's supposed to go, because it remembers its home point, right? And, it'll do that after a little while, but you'll never get night vision. Well, sure enough, I plugged that puppy in, came in to check, night vision worked like a charm. Okay, so poor power supply going to that particular camera. So I rectified that issue. No, not with the Go Power Plus. That was just the test. But, oh yeah, this is what I was going to say with that. That Go Power Plus is small. It's kind of, not super useful. I mean, it's not that it's not useful. It's just not useful for much. You know what I mean? But anyway, literally, it ran that camera, just one camera. It ran that camera all night with its infrared sensors, and them puppies are pretty powerful. It ran it all night, and there wasn't even one bar missing when I unplugged it, which was, I believe, right before noon or so. I unplugged it, and that was because the second time it shut off the auto shut-off, because during the day, without the IR illuminators on, the camera doesn't even pull enough to keep the Go Power Plus from going into its auto shutdown, because it doesn't detect anything drawing from it. So I was impressed with that, and I figured I'd pass that on. That tells me that even something like that Go Power Plus could power those cameras, all of them, for a fairly good amount of time. So that's an awesome thing. That's something I never did test, was how long what could power the cameras themselves, I figured they'd draw a little more than that, so I was pretty surprised. But other than that, like I say, a lot of reorganization going on. When the temperature gets really stupid, I am going to be using the diesel heater to see how it does. Not only the diesel heater. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the, whatever you want to call it, the exhaust plate in the window. And during the day, while I'm awake, I will put it on low and let it basically be a backup. It might actually overrun the other heater, which that's kind of what I'm hoping for. That even all the way on low, that it will be enough to keep it pretty well the right temperature here. Yeah, it is. Hang on. Walmart had them. And when you say that, though, I mean, here it is here. Now, I didn't pay no $96.20. They were like $40 came out, I think 45 something or 47, I don't know, something like that. You could find them locally. They were marked at either 40 or 45. I can't remember. Locally in your local Walmart store. And for a while, they were, being sold. And that's a hell of a deal. $40 for that. Come on. It's 45,000 mAh, right? However, it's got a 100-watt inverter, which isn't a lot, but it's something, And of course, it's got USB ports, and no, it's not, pure sine wave. It's not, it's not all that. Again, it's not a lot, but it's very, very handy. I will say that, very, very handy. And I just grabbed it when I went to when I checked out the the cameras. I just figured I'd go with that because I kind of was curious how long it was going to take to kill that sucker. I actually was surprised when I woke up and looked over and saw the camera was still on. I actually honestly thought I was going to wake up to a dead camera because I figured that battery would have went a lot faster than that. But I was impressed. Yeah, I mean, that's something that if you can get get a good deal on that, that's great. But other than that, leave it on the shelf because that thing, it doesn't have pass-through charging. What is it, like a 2 or 2.3 amp charge limit, something like that? It's stupid. It takes forever to charge the thing up. But for 40, 45 bucks, it's worth that. I wouldn't pay more, though. Alright, let me think. Anything else? I tried multiple times, probably 5 or 6 at least. I wanted to make a video for you guys of the Osprey, of me flying the Osprey. And it's the damnedest thing, I kid you not. Jim sat here and watched me. I can fly that damn thing no problem. Not a problem. I click record. Yeah, I can't even get it going in the air without overstressing the aircraft and breaking something. I have no idea. Now, there is one thing I was doing differently on each of the ones. When I was not recording, I didn't fold the thing up and then unfold it. When I was doing the video, I was folding the thing up like you fold it up to put on a carrier, and then I was showing you how it all unfolded and stuff like that and got ready for flight. And I don't know, maybe there's something either I'm not doing after unfolding the aircraft that's making a difference in it. I don't know. I gotta play with it and I'll find out. Tomorrow I'll play with it. Anyway, I don't know. It's just a really cool aircraft, and I figured some of you might enjoy seeing me take a flight with it and then landing on another, I don't know, some type of amphibious vehicle, or not amphibious, but they've got a bunch of amphibious ships out. They've got carriers out, stuff like that you can go land on. So, anywho, I'll try again tomorrow, and it just may have just been an off day. Sometimes that happens, especially when it comes to flying. Some days are you just can't fly. Let's see. I can't think of anything else really. Just keep at what you're doing. Absolutely keep at what you're doing. And we're going to get ready to start talking about the news, including the whole Ministry of Truth nonsense. I can't think of really anything else to add before we get into all that. However, there is a however. I do have an I told you so ready. Whatever could that I told you so be? I don't know. Can't think of what that might be. Oh, wait, yeah. Iran has developed a hypersonic weapon, says the top commander. Yeah, you know. The U.S. don't have one yet. But hey, that makes Russia, China, North Korea, and now Iran with hypersonic weapons. We still can't have a actual successful flight. We can lie about one being successful. But Yeah. So that's how things are going. Um, I'm not surprised by this, but it still kind of took the wind out of me when I saw it. And I have no doubt, just like I've been saying, and it's not official yet, so to mark my spot for another I told you so, I'm telling you, Iran has had nuclear weapons for some time now. We just haven't been told about it. Same was true for North Korea, and I called that out. And turned out Iran's got them, and they're all working together. And it is what it is. I'm not even downing them for it. I don't blame them for it. If I was a leader of a sovereign nation, I think I'd be doing the same damn thing, wouldn't you? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's the way I look at it. So it is what it is. You know, if nobody's messing, if nobody's poking with Iran, why would anybody need to worry? Oh, 'cause they're crazy, and didn't you hear them say death to America? Yeah. You'd be saying it too if you lived over there and had to deal with, everything largely due to the United States and their sanctions and their nonsense. Yeah, you would probably be saying the same thing. Anywho, this here says Iran has developed a ballistic missile capable of flying at hypersonic speeds, a senior military officer told journalists on Thursday. The weapon system is designed to destroy enemy anti-missile defenses and can maneuver both inside and outside of the atmosphere, indicating its relatively long range. Now let me back up a little bit, because I made a kind of I said something that I want to back up a little bit, and that is that these nations are working together. I think a lot of this falls under the enemy, of my enemy is my friend logic. And I don't think that it's that Russia really doubts its capabilities. I don't think China doubts its capabilities. But I think these nations understand the advantage of bringing in other nations besides themselves. Iran being a good one to bring in for them, obviously. Iran being a good one to bring in. North Korea, obviously, being a good one to bring in. If they could swing it, and I'm going to be real honest with you, I think they probably could without too much arm twisting. I think that they could get the Philippines on board with them. I don't think that would be very hard to do at all. I don't know how hard it would be to get even South Korea on board with them. You have to understand, take a look at what's going on right now in the EU and the UK with energy. They're getting squeezed hard. And what would happen if neither Russia was providing them with energy, nor the U.S., nor anyone else? Then what? Where are they going to get their energy if there's no energy to be gotten anywhere else? If they had to provide it all themselves? This is what I'm saying. It's one thing to talk the talk, but to walk the walk? If you're a leader of a nation, are you ready and willing to put your citizens, your population, under extremely rough times? I would really hope that was not your intent. That's what a lot of these nations are starting to realize, that with all these sanctions and everything else that's going on, they are the ones that are going to pay the price. And for some of them, it's going to be a hell of a hefty price. We're talking about economies destroyed. We're talking about loss of life, loss of industry, you name it. I don't think it's going to be real hard for Russia and China to get other countries sympathetic with their cause. Especially when that's what's going to help keep their houses warm. That's how they squeeze people, yo. That's all you got to do. You got to bring down what someone gets to nearly nil. And then you have to make them fear to God of losing that little bit. Then you control them. That's largely what these nations have done. Not only to their own citizens, but to other nations. It's insane. And that's why every couple of years you don't see me get all teary-eyed because it's voting season. Because that's nothing but nonsense anyway. Really? Why would I purposely allow myself to be distracted from what's going on every 2 years? Doesn't sound real logical to me. Anyway, to this particular article. America's Ministry of Truth hasn't gone away. Official Washington didn't abandon its plan to control social networks. Says here, U.S. Department of Homeland Security is secretly ramping up its efforts to censor and suppress information it considers dangerous. In other words, it's focused on inconvenient but true facts. A body originally created to defend Americans from terror is now threatening free speech everywhere online and doing so with the active help of major tech firms. This is all revealed in leaked documents obtained by journalists Ken Klippenstein and Li Feng. Perhaps the most worrying papers are those that show the highly controversial and widely condemned DHS, or Disinformation Governance Board, and the serious threat it poses to free speech hasn't gone anywhere. What did I tell you? Did I not say that? I do believe. So anyway, you got all this, and this talks about how it all started and blah blah. This is where it's at. A report produced by the agency's advisory committee in June this year is among the leaked papers. It declares that CISA is positioned to play a unique and productive role in helping address the challenges of disinformation. Noting that the internet and in particular social media platforms have disrupted the role of traditional gatekeepers in the dissemination of information, the report advises that CISA approaches the disinformation problem with the entire information ecosystem in view. This would include patrolling and regulating social media platforms of all sizes, mainstream media, cable news, hyper-partisan media, talk radio, and other online resources, and effectively controlling their content. The CISA committee included Vijaya Gadi, I don't know how that's pronounced, Twitter chief of legal policy, trust, and safety. The report shows that she played an active role in shaping CISA's anti-disinformation activities. Hang on. Okay. Providing a list of civil society groups with which Twitter had partnered in the past. Should the committee like to reach out to any additional individuals about its disinformation recommendations? The reason the CISA would wish to reach out to people about its censorship work is clear from leaked minutes of its committee meetings throughout June. again and again the need to socialize the existence of the DGB successor and its taskings among NGOs, right groups, and journalists is discussed. NGOs, you know. Like the clergy response team. You know, they're not really a government organization because it's made up of just, ministers. Not government organization. This is a euphemism for getting the very elements who undermine the DGB after its launch on board with the replacement, which has a new name, so as not to conflate the two identical bodies. Before reaching out to these people, though, one committee member, their name redacted, provided recommendations on how CISA could best answer uncomfortable questions about surveillance and monitoring if they were asked about their targets or the media. Twitter's however that's said, affirmed this course of action and at another meeting recommended the rebranded GGB have broad scope in terms of what media it polices rather than limiting its activities to just social media. Her contributions did not stop there. At numerous CISA committee meetings, she shared insider information about the Twitter platform, revealing that the social network evaluates the level of harm done in alleged disinformation incidents and utilizes a 3-strike system to de-amplify bad actors. She also recommended that the new DGB consider carefully how many counter-narratives it can issue in response to individual incidents. And this here says, readers will understandably be shocked that a senior staff member of a major social network would openly assist the U.S. government in destroying free speech, not only on the platform they work for, but across traditional and social media. But this is in fact normal and has been going on for years. Elsewhere in the leaked minutes is a reference to a meeting in advance of the 2020 U.S. presidential election, which featured DHS participants. Tech industry representatives included figures from Google, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Microsoft, Verizon Media, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. On the government side was CISA, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Since 2018, the tech industry and U.S. government agencies have been regularly meeting so as to counter information operations across the internet, an accompanying statement reads. In a statement to Li Fang and Ken Klippenstein, Twitter claimed, "We do not coordinate with other entities when making content moderation decisions, and we independently evaluate content in line with the Twitter rules." It goes on to say that may be the case now. Since that chick lost her job, I can't say that name, she was one of many people fired by the social network's new owner Elon Musk on 28 October, but the same cannot be said for other social networks. There is a formal portal for government officials to directly flag content on Facebook or Instagram and request that it be removed or suppressed, and a guide to using it is among the leaked files. One passage in the leaked June CISA report states that DHS defines disinformation as false or misleading information that is purposefully seeded and or spread for a strategic objective. It's a very sick joke indeed that the biggest fake news stories of the year have been about the Disinformation Governance Board, in particular that would simply be an advisory body, have no power, and eventually be closed down. It is possible that in the light of these leaks, the DHS could simply be renamed to something else again and carry on as before. And that's what they do. That's what happened with the Real ID Act. Used to be called the National ID Act. Nobody was down for that. Nobody was good with that. And that wasn't the first time they tried it. I forget what they originally called it. Then it became the National ID Act at some point, and it eventually got morphed into the Real ID and got snuck in under the radar. I knew about it, and I said not no, but hell no. Nope. You have to accept that stuff, man. You have to accept it. It even tells you in the good book that you have to accept the stuff. Don't accept it. I know. Guess what? You can't trade. You can't do this. You can't do that. Because how are you going to have a bank account if you can't have a state ID? How are you going to have a driver's license? I don't bullshit people. I walk the walk. Plain and simple. No. I am not taking part. I said no over a decade ago. I wish a hell of a lot more people would join me. U.S. conducts provocative Arctic missile test aimed at Russia. Of course, this is going to be a bit of Russian propaganda towards the United States, and we are on RT. I mean, come on. But, let's just read the article. It says here the U.S. military tested an experimental cruise missile launch system above the Arctic Circle on Wednesday. The commander in charge of the test called it a deliberately provocative move aimed at deterring Russia. The operation involved dropping a long-range cruise missile from a Special Operations C-130 transport aircraft with parachutes slowing its descent until its rocket motor blasted it toward a target. The deployment system, called Rapid Dragon by the military, was developed by the U.S. Air Force, and Wednesday marked its first demonstration in Europe. The choice of Norway's Andøya Space Range for the launch was deliberate, located around 2 degrees north of the Arctic Circle. The range sits at the far western edge of a region of military and economic importance to Russia. The test puts this thing within range of Russia. We are intentionally trying to be provocative without being escalatory. Operation lead Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Malnikoff told the U.S. military Stripes outlet. Here's the thing. How about all this other provocation you hear about these other nations doing? And here we're sitting here right out saying we're provoking them. We're telling the media, yeah, we're provoking them. But then turn around and they fart in our direction, and it's like, oh my goodness. Provocation. Let's see. We're trying to deter Russian aggression and expansionist behavior by showing enhanced capabilities of the NATO allies. Some 50% of Arctic coastline is Russian territory, and Moscow regularly drills its troops in sub-zero warfare. Russia keeps strategic bombers at bases in the Kola Peninsula, just over 500 kilometers to the east of Wednesday's test. Moscow also tested its nuclear-capable Yars intercontinental ballistic missile at the spaceport in Arkhangelsk, something like that, further to the southeast in October, and conducted live fire exercises with anti-ship missiles in the furthest reaches of its northeast a month earlier. So, crazy. I wish they would spend even a fraction of the effort that they do killing people and helping people. They did that, I wouldn't need to kill anybody. But, then you can't have any upper hand. You can't have any controllers. You can't have any they and them, Can't have that. Why? You gotta have the haves and the have-nots. There's no other way. Yeah, I don't get it. They do, though. Somehow. Let's see. Pentagon reveals contents of new Ukraine weapons package. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Right? Screw you. But, Ukraine? Give me the checkbook. The latest batch of U.S. military aid to Ukraine consists mainly of artillery, ammunition, and short-range air defense missiles, the Pentagon revealed on Thursday. Washington says the new weapons will help Kiev counter Russian drone strikes against critical infrastructure. The Ukrainian military will get 21,155 millimeter artillery rounds, as well as 500 of the precision-guided Excalibur shells and 10,000 rounds for the heavy 120 millimeter mortars, in addition to an unspecified quantity of ammunition for the U.S.-supplied high-mobility artillery rocket systems, the Pentagon said. The U.S. has also pledged 4 Avenger air defense vehicles, which are basically Humvees equipped with 4 launchers for Stinger man-portable missiles. There will also be an undisclosed number of Hawk missiles for the 1950s era field air defense vehicles. Spain delivered 4 of its spare Hawks last week and promised 2 more on Thursday. Among the equipment listed in the statement are also 100 more Humvees, 400 grenade launchers, I only need a few, an unspecified amount of small arms, only need a few of those, and 20 million rounds of ammunition for them. I'll take 2 million. Demolition equipment for obstacle clearing and cold weather gear. I could probably use some of that too. By the Pentagon's own admission, we just flied down. By the Pentagon's own admission, this is the 25th drawdown from the U.S. military stock since August 2021. 6 months before the Russian operation in Ukraine began in February, Washington said it has committed more than $21.4 billion in military assistance to Ukraine since 2014. When a U.S.-backed coup, blah, 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 blah. It's insane. It really needs to stop. And if you think it's going to stop by casting a ballot, either way the election goes, I got news for you. It's time to wake up. Actor renames himself for climate change. I say this for last. I didn't even know if I was going to even do it because that's just so stupid. Rainn Wilson, who starred in the I'm not going to read nearly the whole thing. We're just going to read the very beginning, tell you what he calls himself, laugh at him, and then we'll move on. Rainn Wilson, who starred in the U.S. version of the sitcom The Office, declared in a video posted to Twitter on Wednesday that he had changed his name to Rainfall Heatwave Extreme Winter Wilson as a cheap little stunt to help save planet Earth. I changed my name to help tell the world leaders and influencers that we need to act now, Wilson said, urging his fellow celebrities to do the same because I'm just a fucking idiot. Oh, no, he said, what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. And he's a fucking idiot. You know, this is insane. It's literally a mockery. How many people in this country don't know how they're going to be able to pay the bills this winter? And you got douchebags like this that want to parade around in front of everybody. Oh, look at my tofu. You know, if they want this world, let them eat the crickets, the grasshoppers, the ants, whatever. Let them eat that crap. Let them build themselves in their little bitty eco bubble, and absolutely let them deplete every damn bit of carbon dioxide in the air in their bubble. Because it's only a matter of time all the plants in their bubble dies that produces the oxygen, that uses the carbon dioxide. It'll only be a matter of time. Be a matter of time. I'm telling you, there's great power in the word no. Gotta try it. But you gotta stand behind it. You can't just say no and then just go with the flow anyway. And it's gonna be sacrifice. Nothing but sacrifice. It's been nothing but sacrifice since I told the system it could go fuck itself. It has been nothing but sacrifice. Whatever. He said to come out of her. That's all I needed to hear. All right. Let's say here. By the way, I know there's debate as to whether that would be part of what he would say, come out of her, my people, for. But let me remind you that he also said that, we wouldn't be able to trade, we wouldn't be able to, all the things. Right. I think most people can put that 2 and 2 together. Let's see. Fate of U.S. Senate may be decided in runoff. And I think that one's going to be talking about the Kerry Lake one. Is this the Kerry Lake one? No, this is talking Georgia. With that Fetterman and Oz. Ugh. Hey, there was no choices there. There were no choices there. Neither one. Neither. Let's see. EU braces for diesel crunch, says analysis. Dead candidates win U.S. elections. Well, because a lot of dead people voted for them, so. UK businesses facing unmerry Christmas, says surveys. U.S. refuses to send advanced drones to Ukraine, says Wall Street Journal. Putin won't attend G20, says the Kremlin, but he's going to send one of his henchmen, so they're going to be representing. It's just not going to be him. Hungary caps prices for staple foods. EU country's biggest nuclear reactor suffers turbine failure. Iran has developed I covered that. Bitcoin crashes on fears of popular crypto exchange collapse. UK nurses announce first national strike in history. Russian soldiers return to Lugansk after prisoner swap. Hang on, I gotta have a couple of drinks and a couple of vapes. Huh. All right. Biden confuses Ukraine with Iraq again. Hungary explains total failure of sanctions on Russia. Paris commuters face Black Thursday. That's racist. Adidas and Balenciaga branded hypocrites over Yee replacement. Yee, can we please stop with that nonsense? EU country explains stance on military aid for Kiev. EU boosts LNG imports, says data. Doctors remove live explosive from soldier's body. Yeah, that was kind of freaky. They actually put on armor. The medical crew actually put on armor. You know, kind of. No, not the amount of armor that you would if you were going to go defuse a bomb. They weren't in one of those big, the full suit thing. But they did have some type of blast, protection that they had in between them and their work, so to speak. They were, working around it. And, it had a picture. It doesn't show anything that, would be gross. But there you go. Yeah. So, and I honestly don't know if this was the patient or what. I don't know. I couldn't figure that. I'm thinking that is the patient. So, and they've got that there to protect his face just in case it would go off. But luckily, it did not go off. The operation was a success. So, good deal. America's Ministry... Oh, I covered that. Major crypto hub issues bankruptcy warning. Police to apologize to Roman Abramovich, says media. Moscow sets out conditions for talks with EU. Britain reveals some of frozen Russian assets. France U-turns on migrant deal with Italy. Russia finds way around Western product deficit. A lot of headlines today, by the way. MSNBC guest makes vulgar prediction about Republican lawmaker. Multi-billion UK industry might be dead by 2030, says the Times. Swiss activists seek neutrality referendum. Eco-warriors glue themselves to dinosaur. Activists launch Don't Run Joe campaign against Biden. EU's road and rail infrastructure must be revised for military purposes, says Borrell. Russian economy defying Western sanctions, key Putin aide tells RT. Russian politician backs RUSADA reinstatement. KFC sorry for promo to commemorate Nazi attacks on Jews. That's kind of crazy. Epstein accuser retracts rape claim. Imagine that. They must have wrote the check big enough. India presents its vision of world order. France charges right-wingers over plot to attack Macron. Covered that. Apple limits popular file sharing feature. Ukraine's top oil company workers issue plea to Zelensky. Black hole theory questioned after new star defies rules. A granddaughter of infamous fascist dictator back in European Parliament. Biden to meet Xi for first time as president, says White House. Criminal probe opened after reports of grave child abuse. Zelensky names caveat for talks with Moscow. Biden's call for Musk probe draws jeers. Well, gee, I wonder why. Not that I trust Musk, but come on. NASA confirms discovery of Challenger debris. UN official comments on Ukrainian rape evidence in prank call. Actor renames himself for client. Oh, I covered that, unfortunately. Let's see. Executives flee Twitter as Musk mentions bankruptcy, says media. And lastly, officer killed in suspected terror attack. And that was in Belgium. So, anyway, that would be the news. That would be us for the week. Thank goodness. I'm ready for a couple of days to relax. And like I said, I made some pretty good headway today here at home. And I'll continue to make headway tomorrow. And by the time that I'm back on Sunday, I should have most of my projects caught up, I do believe. So, pretty well. Or I say projects. Some of it's just little stuff. Some of it's just getting different places, areas cleaned out, reorganized, stuff like that. So, other things are actual projects. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here. I hope everybody has a good weekend, and try to stay out of trouble. Keep doing the things, man. I hate using other people's sayings, but I mean that's about as accurate as it gets. Keep doing the things, and just keep at it. That's all we can do. All any of us can do. So anyway, y'all have a good one. I hope to see you Sunday. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.